Fox Communities Credit Union.
Good afternoon and welcome to Focus Fox Valley. And part of this hour today, it's bringing it to you straight. Straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. We are so excited for the debut of this new show airing on the second Monday of every month right here on WHBY, answering so many important questions when it comes to those financial issues in your life. And we've got a fantastic show planned for you today. In a few moments, we will be hearing from Jacob Phillips. He's a mortgage loan officer at Fox Communities Credit Union, answering those questions you might have when it comes to home buying. I know there are a lot of them, and Jacob is here to answer those questions. Then later on in the show, Heidi Kiecker joins us to talk all about those frauds and scams out there because they are annoying and we all get them. So what do you do when a potential scammer is maybe texting or calling you? We'll talk with Heidi about some things to look for coming up later on in the show. But right now, a very special guest to kick off this inaugural show, Chris Allen, CEO of Fox Communities Credit Union, joining us right now. Hello to you, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Haley. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We are so excited about this new partnership and this show here on WHBY. And I'm kind of curious from your perspective, how excited are the folks at Fox about this show here?
Oh, we're very excited. We actually started talking about something like this a few months ago. Really wanted to try and figure out new ways to bring education, financial education to our community. Fox Communities is very rooted in our community efforts, and one of our charters, one of our goals, one of our missions is to make sure that our members are financially sound, and that includes education on the most up-to-date financial topics.
You talk about being rooted in our community. Where can we find you all across the Fox cities?
Oh yeah, we've got branches from the north side of Green Bay all the way down to Oshkosh, 21 in all. And pretty much anywhere, or you can go to www.foxcu.org and look us up and reach us there.
And why would you encourage listeners to maybe tune in once a month to connect with you and your team over at Fox Communities Credit Union?
Yeah, we're going to try and keep up with the most recent financial topics for you, as well as just common topics in general. But life's changing. Things are changing constantly. What's out there? In fact, I'm really pleased that we're going to be talking a little bit about the fraud stuff that's happening there and the mortgage stuff, because both are super hot right now. The mortgage market has been one of the strongest with the low rates, and then fraud. It's just amazing, how the criminals are finding ways to try and get in your pocket. So trying to get educated once a month is going to be a good thing for everybody out there.
I agree, because the text messages that even I get sometimes, they can be a little bit confusing and almost make you think, oh, is that a scam or not? We're going to talk all about that. Chris Allen, CEO with Fox Communities Credit Union, a pleasure to talk with you. How can folks stay connected with what's happening in the meantime over at Fox Communities Credit Union?
Yeah, feel free to, if our branches are open, feel free to stop on in and say hi, or again, visit us at www.foxcu.org, or give us a call at 920-993-9000.
Chris, great to talk with you. Thanks for taking a few minutes to kick off the show.
You bet. Thanks, Haley. We're really excited.
Us too. Thank you very much. Chris Allen, again, CEO of Fox Communities Credit Union. And we mentioned fraud, but right now we are going to dive right into those maybe home buying questions that you might have. We are joined now by Jacob Phillips, mortgage loan officer. Hi, Jacob. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Haley. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Glad you're able to be part of this inaugural show here on WHBY. We're excited.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to give some feedback on what to do to buy your first home.
And a little background on Jacob here. You're an Appleton native, correct?
Correct.
And you went to college at UW Oshkosh, and you have a degree in marketing.
Yep.
Fantastic. So let's maybe start with I guess maybe one of the first things that comes to mind when buying a home. And from what I understand and from my experience too in the home buying world, it's you got to get pre-qualified first, right?
Yeah, and by all means, pre-qualification is one of the best places to start. Not only does it help you understand exactly what you can afford for a loan amount, but it helps you kind of stand out from other buyers in the market, showing that you're committed to the process and that the homes that you're looking to put offers in, you want to move forward and you want to buy that home.
And you don't need to be a first-time buyer, of course, to be pre-qualified. This probably happens at every stage of whatever home number you are on.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter if it's your first, if it's your second, if it's your forever home. We're always happy to take a look. Even if you want to look to build, we have some great products to help out with that as well.
So what all is in pre-qualification, Jacob? What does that all entail?
Great question. So in the pre-qualification process, typically they take a look at the applicant's credit, their income, and their overall financial picture. And what they're looking at is a specific loan amount to help that person make sure that they can move forward. So what happens, it actually gets put in through a system and kicks back and tells us if they are pre-approved for that amount.
People might be thinking, okay, do I have to do this step? Why might it be important for someone to take the time to get pre-qualified?
Yeah, so by taking the time to get pre-qualified, it's helping them stand out and differentiate themselves from others that are putting in offers. Right now, we see so many offers coming through at one time on just one property. So something that our members can do is go through and take the time to have that confidence when they're going through and buying that house. That way, when they're going through and purchasing that home, they say, yes, I can afford this house, or I'm ready to go. And it sets them apart from everybody else.
And does there happen to be any financial charging that goes along with being pre-qualified?
Nope. So it's actually free to get pre-qualified. To get started, you don't even have to be a member to start. And it's something that we really recommend people to get a feel on where they are financially, where they want to be with a monthly payment, and making sure that we're setting them up for success.
We're talking today with Jacob Phillips, mortgage loan officer with Fox Communities Credit Union. It's our very first Bringing It to You Straight show here on WHBY. It's a good time, though, to take a pause, but we'll be back in just a few minutes with so much more. So stick around. We're continuing on with Bringing It to You Straight answers to your financial questions right here on WHBY. And we are back with more of Bringing It to You Straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. And we are focused today on home buying. And I know there are a lot of questions that go along with that process. We just touched on pre-qualification, joined again by Jacob Phillips, a mortgage loan officer. He is there to answer all of those questions when you ultimately are looking to buy that home. And Jacob, I know something that a lot of times people have questions about, or they are always curious to know what their number is. I'm talking about the credit score. So does that matter, Jacob, when it comes to looking to buy a house?
Absolutely. In fact, the higher your credit score, the better. When looking at credit, the higher the score, it helps our borrowers go through and qualify for lower interest rates, their closing costs, their homeowners insurance premiums, and even their private mortgage insurance costs. So typically, the better the score, it's going to help them buy more of a home.
Now, I know that, you can have a high score and that's fantastic, but what about someone who says, you know what, I made some poor decisions, maybe when I was younger, got into a little debt perhaps, and I don't have the highest score possible. Do you have a minimum credit score requirement?
I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people are hesitant to try to get pre-qualified. Going through here at Fox, we understand that life happens. And one of the things we look at is saying we don't have any minimum credit score requirement. The only thing that's going to impact is how much we require for a down payment. So even if you're not sure, I always say it's worth a shot. Take the time to go through and get pre-qualified or see where you're at. Maybe we can help you get on the path to where you need to be.
And if people are, looking to maybe check their credit score and have that in their at top of mind right now, how often can they check it and where can they check it?
Yeah, so they should be, it's always recommended that you check your credit score once a year. We always recommend going to www.annualcreditreport.com. Through there, they can go through and actually get their credit score through Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion.
And you said once a year is the recommendation to check that.
Correct.
And is it free? Does it cost anything?
It is free, specifically when they go to the www.annualcreditreport.com. When they're looking through specifically at the Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, they can get a free copy.
And is there the best time of year to check that? Is it something maybe you mark down, check it in the beginning of the year, or maybe during tax season? When should people be checking that?
Yeah, there's different times of the year to go through and check. If you want to be a little bit savvy, you can go through and split it up across the year. That way you're checking across all platforms. I've seen other people go through and pull them all at the same time so they can see what's being reported across all three credit bureaus. It really comes down to what the member's goal is.
All right. Well, we will make sure to link that website over at WHBY.com. It's bringing it to you straight answers to your financial questions. And if you have a question on home buying today, you can give us a call. 281-1150 is the phone number, and our phone lines are open to you right now. I want to switch gears here a little bit, Jacob, and talk more about maybe your job and how that maybe impacts your application. So how can job time impact an application when you're looking to purchase a house?
Yeah, one of the things we're looking for when we're looking at a job is how long someone's there, specifically in the same occupation or in the same industry. Typically, the longer we see someone in that job or in that industry, usually shows a stronger borrower. So at any time, the longer someone's in that job or occupation, it's going to help their pre-qualification.
Jacob, if you're looking to buy a house, is it the time to maybe start a brand new career?
In fact, that doesn't actually matter at all. We have people all the time that go through and start the pre-qualification process. The biggest thing is it's case by case. So I would say take the time to sit down with a mortgage lender and at least understand what your scenario is to make sure that we understand all the different moving pieces to you starting that new career.
Of course, there is the monthly mortgage payment once you find that beautiful home that your family is so excited to move into. But of course, there's the mortgage payment once a month. How do you know how much you can afford? What might be the perfect payment for your family?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I always like to pivot that back to the member. Instead of talking about, how much of a payment can you afford, it really talks about ultimately what are you comfortable paying on a monthly basis. We do have some limitations that we need to follow, but at the end of the day, we're here to serve our member and do what's best for them. So it really comes down to what they're comfortable with a monthly payment and making sure that it's a payment that they can afford long term.
And I know that the down payment obviously fits into that too. What's the minimum needed for your down payment, perhaps?
Yep. So for our down payment, we do require as low as 3% down for first-time home buyers, which is really nice because a lot of times that can be virtually covered for you.
And another part of this process, closing costs. Can you tell us more about these?
Yep. So your closing costs range between $1,500 and $1,800. Going through those would be again, depending if you qualify for those grants and different down payment plus programs that we offer. A lot of those items can be covered almost virtually.
Virtually. Fantastic. We're talking with Jacob Phillips today, mortgage loan officer with Fox Communities Credit Union. We are bringing you those answers to your financial questions, and we're talking about home buying and what that process can look like for first-time buyers or maybe the second, third, or even fourth-time buyers of that home for you or your family. All right. We want to talk about PITI or pity. What does that mean, and why is it important to know this?
Yeah, a lot of times when people are looking online, they're strictly looking at their principal and interest payment. The biggest thing when looking at a mortgage payment is made up of your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. It's important that home buyers are looking at both the taxes and insurance as well as that principal and interest. It doesn't matter if they're going to have it paid all at once or if they're going to be paying the tax and insurance once a year. It's important that financially they're figuring that into their budget and they understand all the associated costs besides the actual mortgage payment itself.
Yeah, Jacob, why is it important to kind of pay attention and know what this is?
Because what happens is on a monthly basis, you're going to go through and have both your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, especially if you're going to put a smaller amount down. So it's important that you are figuring in those taxes and insurance on a monthly basis in with your payments.
All right. Let's move on to private mortgage insurance. What is that? Do I need to purchase this?
Yeah, a lot of people get private mortgage insurance and homeowners insurance confused. The easiest way to look at it is homeowners insurance protects the homeowner and private mortgage insurance protects the lender. So with that, typically you don't have private mortgage insurance if you have 20% down, but this is a cost that is associated with your mortgage when you're over that 80% loan to value.
And do you often recommend this for first-time buyers?
Going through, there are different options. If you're a first-time home buyer, if we're trying to be conservative with cash flows, we're making sure that we're being, especially with COVID going on, taking care of our members. Sometimes it does make sense to go through and pay that private mortgage insurance, especially when we start looking at the difference between renting and owning.
And if you are required to have that private mortgage insurance, Jacob, do you then have to pay for it for the full length of that loan?
Yeah, a lot of people think that that it's required to be paid through the entire life of the loan. Once your loan hits 78% loan to value or 22% equity in your home, that's typically automatically removed from your loan.
All right. We are talking with Jacob Phillips again. He is a mortgage loan officer over at Fox Communities Credit Union. And Jacob, I'm just curious, how can folks get in touch with you over at Fox if they are ever curious about starting this process?
Yeah, there's 4 different ways they can get in contact with us. Like Chris mentioned, they can stop into any one of our various locations. Our lobbies are open. You can also apply at www.foxcu.org. If you want to talk directly to a mortgage lender, you can call 920-993-3525. Or if you'd like to just call Fox on their general line, it's 920-993-9000.
Fantastic. And you are there to help in whatever way you can.
Exactly.
We have a lot of show to get to today. Like I said, we're talking about home buying right now, but stick with us because in about 20 minutes, we are talking all about fraud. So that conversation is just ahead. We are going to continue our conversation, though, with Jacob in our next half hour, too, talking more about first-time home buyers, maybe what is considered or who is considered a first-time home buyer. And then when it comes down to that loan, where do you go from there? And what types of loans does Fox Communities Credit Union offer? So we have a lot more show to go. It is our very first Bringing It to You straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. And if you have a question, we'd love to answer it if we can. Give us a call, 281-1150. Or if you're outside the Appleton area, you can call 866-887-1150 on that TDS Metrocom toll-free line. We'd love to hear from you as we are bringing it to you straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. Stick with us. We've got another half hour of the show here to come on WHBY.
I can say neurofibromatosis. Can you? Neurofibromatosis affects 1 in 3,000 children. NF causes the body's tumor suppressor to stop working, which makes every nerve cell in the body a hotspot for tumor growth. There is no cure for NF. To join our fight or to learn more about neurofibromatosis, visit littlesttumorfoundation.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/littlesttumor.
From News Talk 1150 WHBY.
And we are back with more of Bringing It to You straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. I'm Haley Tenpas, and we are joined today by Jacob Phillips, mortgage loan officer. And in about 10 minutes, we'll hear from Heidi Kiecker about fraud and scams. But right now, again, joined by Jacob. And Jacob, tell us a little bit again about your role with Fox Communities Credit Union and how you're there to help folks.
Yeah, thanks, Haley. So again, one of the mortgage lenders here at Fox, and one of my main goals is to not only go through and help people walk through that home buying process, but to make sure that they feel empowered and make sure that they understand, what the process looks like and that they're making the right decision for them.
As someone who's gone through that home buying process, it can be very confusing. There's a lot of paperwork. How do you kind of simplify things or help people through that process, Jacob?
Yeah, going through, it's nice being able to talk that person through that process and give that personal touch just to make them feel comfortable and understand that everything is okay and where they're at in that process, especially if you don't do it every day. I can see where a lot of questions come up.
Absolutely. And there are a lot of, different terms are out there, a lot of different things to know and learn. And we're going to talk about another one that comes up a lot when it comes to home buying, and that is escrow, correct?
Yes. So escrow is a big fancy word for a savings account that's made just for taxes and insurance. A lot of people hear the escrow account and say, oh my gosh, I don't know what that is. I don't have one of those, or do I have one of those? And that's all it really is.
So it's not as intimidating as you might think.
No.
All right. So we're moving on from escrow here. When it comes to that first-time home buyer, this is a really special process, and I know people want to get it right, and they want to find that perfect first home for themselves, maybe for their family. Are there any special products or incentives for first-time home buyers?
Yes, here at Fox, we actually have some specials for first-time home buyers. We have some things where we offer less money down. We also have some lower rates and cheaper closing costs.
Fantastic. All right, so that's kind of a perk to maybe go in with Fox.
Exactly.
So let's maybe move to the loan, because that ultimately is how people are going to get that home, that dream home for them. So what types of loans do you offer?
Yeah, we have 3 different categories that I would really put it into. We would have adjustable rate mortgages. You have your very familiar fixed rate products. And more specifically, we do have construction loans.
And tell us a little bit more about that last one, construction loans. How does that work?
Yeah, so in our process with our construction loans, we have what's called a single close construction loan. So instead of having multiple closings, you do everything all up front. So it makes it really fast and convenient to go through and start that build process.
And Jacob, what if someone isn't quite sure the route they want to go? Maybe they're looking at potentially building, maybe they'll potentially buy. Are you there to kind of, maybe help them make a deciding factor here?
Absolutely. I think one of the best things to do, especially when you're starting out that construction process, is sitting down with one of our mortgage lenders, really understanding what you're looking to do, the time frame when you want to get started, and understand that, what things are happening in the market that's going to impact that process.
And I'm guessing you might work with the builder too when it comes to the construction loan?
Yep, of course.
All right. Another key part of buying a new home or finding a lot for that home might be a realtor, of course. So how can a realtor help with this home buying process?
Yeah, so right now, especially in this market, we see homes flying off the shelf. So the nice part about working with a realtor is they have access to the MLS, which stands for Multiple Listing Service. So what they can do is they can actually see in real time different houses that are coming on and off the market. So if you're looking to get that competitive edge and get a offer going, they're going to help you find real-time data on homes that are available.
You mentioned the market being a quick one right now, Jacob, but from your perspective, how fast are things going?
I mean, we see stuff listed same day. They're already getting accepted offers.
Wow. So you know how to work fast.
Yes, within hours. We can go through in about 20, 25 minutes and get a pre-qualification put in.
Wow. And I think that's really important because, yes, the market is very fast right now. And that's really reassuring to know that you can put a call in and get that paperwork filled out if it is your dream home.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah, I would say if it's something, even within 24 hours, we'd be happy to go through and assist someone, even just to answer questions.
All right. Well, it's the point that everyone hopes to get to when in that home search process, you find it. It's the perfect dream home. You cannot wait to hopefully make it yours. So what does someone do? They found the home. They want to purchase it. What is that first step?
Great question. So one of the things we just talked about before was pre-qualification. If they haven't gone through and started that pre-qualification process, they would want to do that ASAP. But after they would go through and be pre-qualified, that next step would be going through and putting an offer in, getting all the signed accepted offer documents, and getting this all back to their lender as soon as possible. So that way the lender can get the process moving for them.
And Jacob, how long or what's the time frame for that qualification? Does it have an end date, or is it always open?
So a pre-qualification is good for 90 days.
90 days. All right. Good to keep in mind. All right. What about applying for other homes, maybe while you're purchasing a home? I can think maybe a car loan coming to mind. Maybe you want to get a new car to put in that new garage. Should people be applying for other loans when applying for that home loan?
I would actually say absolutely not. Applying for other loans in that process can be very detrimental to the process. If there's something that's an absolute need during that home buying process, I always recommend that the member should always reach out to the lender first. If you go through and take out any additional financing, that could make or break you getting that home.
And what is the time frame in general here from the moment you put that offer in, maybe it gets accepted, to finally closing day? How long can it take to close on a home?
Yeah, we have an amazing operations team, back office, that we work side by side with every day. Going through, our average turn time is around 30 days.
I want to also talk about titles, because I know title companies can sometimes play a role in the home buying process. What does the title company do?
Yep, so the title company looks over the entire transaction. Their job is to verify that there's no liens, judgments, or encumbrances on the property that you're buying. So in the end, this is pretty much saying they're making sure that nothing stops you from getting in that home.
All right, Jacob, and we've made it. We've made it to closing day. Very exciting. What happens on that very eventful day?
Yes. So your hand will get really tired at closing. You'll have a few different things that you go through. You'll have your final amount of money that you'd bring to closing, your identification, and then you go through and sign all the documents, ensuring you understand everything that you're agreeing upon with the loan for the property. And when you're all done, you should be walking away with the keys for your new home.
It's all great news, and I know so many people are so anxious and eager to get to that point in their home buying process, and Fox Communities Credit Union can really help you all along the way. So, Jacob, fill us in. How do we get started at applying with Fox?
Yeah, so again, there's 4 different ways you can look to apply with Fox. As Chris mentioned at the beginning of the show, you can stop into any one of our 21 locations. Another option is going on our website at www.foxcu.org, or you can talk specifically to one of our mortgage lenders at 920-993-3525, or you can simply call our general line at 920-993-9000.
Excellent. And very friendly people like Jacob, who we've spent the last half hour with, are there to help you through this process. They can really be a helping hand through it all. Jacob, it's been great to talk with you and to learn more about this. So thanks for being part of the very first Bringing It to You Straight.
Yes, thank you so much. And by all means, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. We will make sure to link all that Jacob mentioned over at WHBY.com. Jacob, have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Haley.
All right. Still to come, we are talking all about fraud. And I know it can be frustrating when you get scammed or you get those scam texts, those calls, maybe emails. We're talking with Heidi next, all about what to do when scammers pop up. We'll talk about that still to come here on Bringing It to You Straight. And we are back with Bringing It to You Straight, right here on WHBY, part of Focus Fox Valley. Yes, bringing it to you straight answers to your financial questions with Fox Communities Credit Union. Well, we are talking now about frauds, scams. They are an annoying part of our day-to-day life. But Heidi Kiecker joins us now. She is the BSA fraud officer at Fox Communities Credit Union, and she has worked at Fox for 5 years. She is BSACS certified, and she's worked with fraud for the last 4 years. She brings a ton of knowledge and experience to our show today. She joins us now. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Haley.
Thanks for being part of the very first Bringing It to You Straight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk and share information on fraud.
Absolutely. And this is a really important one because sadly, I think it affects all of us in some way, shape, or form. So let's talk right now about fraud and scams, but specifically to the world we are all familiar with, which is COVID-19, the world of COVID-19. And there are scammers are out there taking advantage of people during this time.
Yeah, I thought this would be a good topic, like you said, to kick off our show. Unfortunately, with any natural disaster type of situation, scammers are always preying on people in their most vulnerable times. And the pandemic is no different. Scammers are targeting people during the pandemic by using uncertainty or worry in order to kind of create that urgency in people. They're selling fake cures or asking for donations to non-existent charities, or even offering, phony work-at-home opportunities. So there's just a gamut of different scams out there.
Wow. I'm sure people are really curious to learn exactly what these scams might be. So could you give us an example or name a couple of scams that are currently happening right now?
Yeah, so like I said, there are many scams associated with COVID-19, but I will name a few of the more popular ones, and I will say that all of these scams, like I said, are creating urgency to get you to react quickly and give away your personal or financial information when you maybe wouldn't have otherwise given it away. So offering you work-at-home opportunities that are too good to be true. If in any situation, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Anyone calling or asking you to pay for a vaccine is a scammer. No one would be reaching out to you, as I say, cold called, asking you to pay for a vaccine. Scammers posing as your company's HR department, saying something like, "Pandemic is within, beware." HR departments don't typically send an email like this, and they don't use that kind of language. They wouldn't say, pandemic is within, and then say beware. Those are just some key words to think about. And then another one, the false delivery notifications. So those are usually communicated via email or text message to get people to act on those.
And I can, as you've named these, Heidi, I can think of examples that I myself have encountered in regards to getting a text with a fake link to something, and the scammers posing as your company's HR department. I've gotten some emails saying, "Haley, your termination," or something like that, and they're really wild emails that they are trying to get to lure you in. Yeah.
Yep. And I do have an example of a text message you might receive. I mean, you might think that a simple text message won't be that luring, but it can be. So one example I have is, "Hi, we are having issues with releasing your package. Please update shipping directions." And there'll be just a little link right below that, and the scammers want you to click on that. So here again, the scammers are creating urgency by inviting you to click on the link for your curiosity, like a package. You start to think of, did I order something? Why would I be getting this text message? So by doing so, by clicking on that link, you could be giving full access to anything on your phone for the scammers to see without your knowledge even, whether it's, your personal information, pictures, any login or password information that you have saved, any debit or credit card numbers that are on your phone. And if you use online banking, the scammer would have access to your accounts and could even start doing transactions, leaving you with no money, or even worse, a negative balance for you to deal with. And you would have no idea who did it or how it happened, all because you were curious about a package that probably wasn't relevant in the first place. So a very simple message can lead to bad things.
Wow. We're talking with Heidi Kiecker today. She is a fraud officer at Fox Communities Credit Union. Some great information here on the type of frauds that are out there, the scams that are currently happening, especially during this world of COVID-19. Just preying on people who are having, maybe real fears about what's going on in the world, which is so disappointing to see. You gave us a great example of a text message you might receive. So how can we avoid these, Heidi? How can we, really try to get these out of our world right now? Is it possible?
Yeah, so there are some tips for avoiding, I guess, either COVID-19 scams or any type of scam. So, do not respond to any calls or texts from unknown numbers. If you don't know the number, it's not saved in your phone, do not respond to them. Do not click on any links in a text message or email that you weren't expecting. Never share your personal or financial information via email, text, or phone. And that one can kind of be, unless you initiate it or if you are, expecting that information. Be cautious if you're being pressured to share information or make a payment immediately. And remember, government agencies will never call you to ask for your personal information or money. And watch for sensational words in emails, texts, or calls like beware and warning, like I mentioned about the HR department. Those are all just typical things or just tips that you can avoid, with scams.
And Heidi, how do you help? How can you kind of be a helping hand if someone is experiencing a scam or a fraud?
Yeah, so I think like Kristen and Jacob mentioned, if we had a situation where a member did fall victim to something, we always educate them if they weren't already educated prior to that, to say, okay, let's walk through the steps and what happened and how it may have occurred, and just say stop corresponding with that person. That however you got that communication with them, they did the right thing if they would notify the financial right away. Getting their device checked if that's something that they think that the scammer got into their phone and got access to that information. Get your device checked by a reputable company. And if it got to the point of getting your identity stolen or you suffered a significant financial loss, or if you feel threatened in any way, the scammers can get pretty persistent. Go to the police and file a police report just so it's documented and they can take the proper procedures from there. So all those types of things is kind of what we do and help the member through that situation.
Well, I'd imagine, Heidi, that you are a very good person to have on your side when dealing with these types of scams and what can be kind of a scary situation, I'm sure, for some people who are dealing with this and wondering, is it real? Is it not real? Heidi is there to answer those questions for you. I know we're talking today about COVID-19 scams. So, Heidi, where can people go? Where can our listeners go to maybe learn more about the different types of COVID-19 scams that are out there?
Yeah, so for more information, the Federal Communications Commission website is a good place to go. That is a government website. They have everything laid out in the different tips and ways to avoid it. You can go to fcc.gov/COVID-scams. So that's the Federal Communications Commission website. So a lot of good information there. So I highly recommend if you have any, if anybody has any further questions or want to learn more about it, that's a good place to go.
And Heidi, how can they get in touch with you if they have a question about fraud as well?
Yeah, they can, if they want to reach out to me, they can call the 920-993-9000 phone number, and they can certainly ask for me.
Fantastic. Well, Heidi, it's been great to check in with you. And I think Heidi's going to come back during our show, Bringing It to You Straight, to talk more about fraud over the next couple of months. So looking forward to more conversations on ways to maybe outsmart these scammers, Heidi.
Yes, I'm excited and look forward to the different topics we have every month.
Absolutely. All right. Heidi Kiecker, BSA Fraud Officer over at Fox Communities Credit Union, joining us for our very first Bringing It to You Straight answers to your financial questions. Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you.
And that is it for our very first show with Fox Communities Credit Union. Join us on the second Monday of every month. You can visit WHBY.com for details, or you can visit foxcu.org. That's it for me on this Monday. More Focus Fox Valley to come here on WHBY.